In this story, we're going to look at how Team OG not only came on top at the International, but how they literally broke Dota. They are the best, if not the greatest team in Dota history. And I'm going to attempt to explain why. This is Crystalis Chronicle. So let us begin with the International of 2018. In 2018, Team OG went into the group stages and did mediocre. And then, however, in the playoffs, they would go and be undefeated. They would never lose a best of 3 series, and then they would go to the grand finals and win against PSG LGD in a Game 5 thriller, 3-2. Now, in the International of 2018, many argue, or at that moment, many people said that Team OG won by luck. That many of the times they would pick a Spectre and they would win late game and somehow turn the game around. But if you're a real Dota analyst or a real watcher of the game, you knew that something was weird. How could a team every time be down 20,000 gold and somehow, some way, turn the game entirely around? At that exact moment, many people did not understand what OG was doing. In fact, OG in TI8 not only made the meta, but they cemented it. They created this playstyle, and they knew exactly how to win games. They knew that going ultra late was the best way to win. So they would pick Arc Warden, Spectre, Terrorblade, superheroes for the late game. Now that was the meta before, and despite that, people still argue that, hey, they luckily defeated the Chinese team. They luckily, by a little hair, a slight margin, they defeated PSG LGD. Well, that may have been perhaps true. But then let's fast forward to current day, modern day. 2019, the International of 2019. The group stages occur yet again. And in the group stages, we learned that Team OG are superior. In fact, they had the best group stage outing in the entire International. In the group stage, they finished with 14 points. Ahead of every other team. The second placed on the other bracket was, yes, PSG LGD with 13 points. So this goes to show that both were at the peak of their game. Both teams from the last International Grand Finals were at the peak. But let's pause for a bit. You see, in the International, in Dota, there's a meta. A meta means that the trend of the game, the pattern of the game, which heroes are going to dominate the game. Now, the typical international champion team, they create the meta. They create the style of play that everybody follows because that is what makes them dominant. That makes that style dominate. In TI8, it wasn't that clear, but in TI9, it really was clear. And this is why. Because in the group stages, everything that Team OG did, every kind of strat they pulled off, every kind of hero that they brought out of the bag was dominant. They won in every single series. Most of the games they won. Now, the tricky part is to see and understand the evolution of the meta. You see, during the International itself, in TI9 itself, the meta evolves. As you go from the group stages, which is like the preliminary stages, you go into the main stage, which is the playoffs. You have the upper bracket and the lower bracket. Now, Team Liquid was at the lower bracket. That's fine. They never got to face against the upper bracket teams. However, Team OG in the upper bracket, they were undefeated. They never lost a best of 3 series. Yes, they lost one game here and there against EG. That's fine. They lost against PSG LGD once. That's fine. But overall, what OG did was understand the meta, create the meta, and evolve their game. Throughout the main stage, you can see a little build-up of OG. You can see that they're understanding, hey, everybody is picking the heroes we like. Everybody's adjusting to our style of play. So, if we think about the game, we know what their weaknesses are. We know what their strengths are. We know how IO is supposed to be played. We know how Bristleback is supposed to be played. We know how Gyro is supposed to be played. We know Void. We know what the best combination with Void is the Tiny, with the Tiny Aghanim Scepter throwing tree volleys. We know all of these trends, and OG are creating this. Remember this, guys. OG created this whole trend. This Enchantress was cemented by OG later on in the stages. And you can see many different games where evil geniuses try to take down OG's Enchantress, but they failed. They would lose the entire game. There's one series right here. I can show a clip.
You're coming in deep, man. like, they're under a shrine. He's got a lot more. Avalanche toss up into the arrow, and Thompson's trying to help out with the calls now, pushing Smell away. Enchantress now going to get the sprites off. No-Tail still there. The Mana Boy, that's easy.
Oh, the tornado!
The EMP, they're all bone dry. It is an absolute drought of EG.
But regardless, you can see the meta was changing. Now, the third time and the final time the meta evolves is at the ending in the grand finals. But let me just explain a little bit more. So, Team OG go through the upper bracket, defeat everyone. Team Liquid, the TI7 champion, with Miracle Kuroki, they go through the lower bracket. They never face against OG because they're in different sides, right? And Team Liquid defeat everyone. Every Chinese team, Evil Geniuses, the NA squad, Team Secret, who many people thought was the best team, and then eventually PSG LGD, who would come to the lower bracket. Team Liquid would defeat everyone. This goes to show that, hey, perhaps Team Liquid was understanding some part of the meta. Perhaps they were adjusting. Or maybe they were just copying Team OG. Maybe they were such good copycats that they thought they could mess with the big boys. Now, in the grand finals, it's Team Liquid versus Team OG. I'm gonna break it down and explain every detail right now. It's very simple why Team OG won. See, before, in TI8, everybody underestimated Team OG and their capabilities. Maybe they won by a fluke. Maybe they won by luck. Oh, maybe it was the story, by destiny, by, flowers and friendship. Yeah, all of that. No. When it comes to the real Dota mechanics, OG won because they created the meta and cemented it. They were the best team. Now, in this year, not only did they create the meta, they evolved the meta themselves. And they understood the meta more than everyone. They knew what heroes were the best. In this international, let's take a breath and try to understand this. Team OG knew the ins and outs of the game. They knew everything about this game. They literally broke the game. They took it over. No one can understand what they did. This is why they haven't lost a single series in the entire last 2 years of the international. In TI9, they cemented it. Everybody was gunning after them. Everybody knew after the group stages, Team OG are the best team by far. Now, Team Liquid defeated PSG LGD. That goes to show that, hey, Team Liquid has perhaps a chance with Weeha, a new addition. But look at it. Team OG is the same squad from last year. They didn't add anything. They didn't change anything. It's the way they thought the game. They evolved. They made it better. Now, in the grand finals, I want us to go by one. The first game, we see Team OG pull out a Spectre strat, which is very similar to last year, a TI8 strat, which would possibly win against any other team from last year. But Team Liquid pull out this year's strat with a little oomph of their own. They put out a Meepo, but with essentially a Tide Hunter, a Chen, and a Rubik. Now, Team OG, they were experimenting in Game 1. And if you look deeply within, you will understand that, hey, Team OG made a 20k comeback with Spectre strat, using last year's strat. And they had the game. In fact, while they were pushing high ground, about 1 racks away from Mega Creeps, Team OG would lose, but then let Miracle and Liquid retaliate, come back. Although Team OG had buybacks, Spectre had a buyback, they did not use the buyback. They didn't use the buyback, and they let Team Liquid take Roche and eventually the throne. Even having buyback, they didn't do anything. And at that moment, mind you, Spectre had already turned the game around. And if you guys know about Dota, when you go late game against a super strong Spectre, it's a very, very slim chance of winning the game. Now, they held the buyback, they didn't use it, and they would lose Game 1 of the Grand Finals against Liquid. Fantastic. And at that moment, this was a mental affair. This was a mental battle. At that moment, although Team Liquid felt like they won and they made an epic game, it really was not the case. Team OG let Liquid win to have a mental edge. Team OG knew they won the game, and they knew at that moment, from Game 1, that this series was in the bag. Literally in the bag. In the interviews, they go on to talk about playing one game at a time. But if you look at the facial expressions after the booth, if you look at the eyes of No-Tail, you knew. You knew that he was thinking the game way ahead. You knew that Team OG had every strat ready to be taken out. They were gonna dominate Liquid in every form of the game. Game number 2. Let's get this road started. Now, if I get a little serious into the game, if I'm talking a little animated, It's because I'm passionate about Dota and I love Dota. And if you want to subscribe, you can subscribe. But this is the best part of the video, and I hope you guys listen to it. So in game 2, let's pause and look at the heroes. That's what I want to do with you guys, because it's all about understanding the meta, the pattern, what makes or breaks a specific game. If you have a particular strategy and it works, you're going to win the game no matter what. You're going to win. So look at what heroes Liquid pick and OG pick. Liquid pick a Lifestealer, which is pretty much dying out in the meta. Templar Assassin came out very recently, but Enigma and Shaman, they're okay. You don't really see a black hole in the TI finals, not in this year's. The black hole wasn't that effective in any of the games prior, so it's a mediocre hero. And Tidehunter is a very good pickup. That is understandable. That's part of the meta. However, look at specifically at OG. OG picked Ember Spirit, which is a very versatile hero that goes along with OG mid's Thompson. Thompson's Monkey King is a very unique hero that only can be played by Thompson. He is a very special player on this hero. Now, when he plays this hero, you have to play with the hero. So what does Ember Spirit do? Very well, he moves. Monkey King moves throughout the map. They played 1-2 punch. Then you have Ami Knight, which is a very sustainable hero, gives a lot of support. And when you have these 3 cores running together, and then a Grimstroke in the back, and a Tiny tossing people towards you, what do you think is going to happen? There's a death ball lineup coming at you. While Team Liquid has to have everything happen in a very, very perfect time-orientated method. Tidehunter had a very high cooldown Ravage, and then Enigma has a very high cooldown ulti. They both have to be timed together perfectly. But the point of this breakdown is to see how these 5 heroes in Liquid, they don't go with the meta, because they don't have a particular death ball status. They don't work together all simultaneously. Lifestealer and Templar Assassin, they're not really well together unless they're going into super late. Templar Assassin cannot go super late. He doesn't even have Blink Dagger yet by 17 minutes. He just has a Deso. So they can't work together. Lifestealer needs a lot of time. He needs a Radiance, he needs a Midas. It's gonna take way too much time. By then, Team OG is coming at your face. Team OG have a lineup that's going to come with Ember Spirit and a Maelstrom. That's it. He doesn't need anything else, because he's going to run at your face. They have a death ball lineup, meaning all 5 of them are going to work together. They're going to dive tier 3s for you. Even though they haven't even taken a tier 1 tower, they're going to dive tier 3. That shows that Team OG, they know your weakness and they're going to go lights out. Now, perhaps you want to look at it from another perspective. You see, in game 1, OG picked Spectre lineup in purpose to make Liquid mentally delayed. Liquid thought at that time that perhaps every game is going to go to the super late. Maybe we should create a late game orientated draft. That's what Kuroki got baited into. But Team OG, they knew the meta. It's not TI 8 where you have one super core going to the late game. No, it's TI 9. And in TI 9, you have to have 5-man squad running at your face together in a unit. That's the meta. And Team OG knew that. You see, in the rest of the games, this concept would take into full effect. The impact of game 1 and what it did for both teams, it has devastating consequences. Because game 1 was so close, Team Liquid was afraid, and they got mentally destroyed. They didn't know how to draft against OG.
Walking over Mike Control, trying to get around the company, can't bound the strikes out. Was embraced again, Notel, stopping her.
At this moment, you could tell Team OG was playing serious and they were gonna win. Fine, keep doubting, keep believing that OG is not the greatest team. Keep thinking that, hey, maybe it was luck. Game 2 was luck, right? So let's go to game 3.
The toss back in GH is OG. They just keep killing every single member of Liquid over and over again.
Now, game 3, I just want to pause again. Look at this, what the draft is all about. We all know that Team OG created the meta. I've been repeating because it's very hard to get into your head. It's very hard to explain. When you create the meta, when you give birth to something, you know how it works, or you hopefully do. You know what's its weakness and strengths. Therefore, shouldn't you try to ban some of the heroes that OG like? Shouldn't you try to ban some of the meta heroes? Shouldn't you try to ban them? See, OG created the meta in such a way that even if you ban their heroes, they have another counter hero. That means that even if you ban any hero that perhaps is part of their meta, they have another one ready up in the bag. So Liquid was in a terrible situation. They did not know how to ban against OG. And that Spectre lineup again caused a mental breakdown. They felt like they lost the game as well. So Liquid was mentally broken down at that moment. And the mastermind was Notel. He was out drafting Kuroki. So in game number 3, guess what they get? They get every single hero in the meta. The current meta is Tiny and Void. That kind of combination is so deadly. Ladies and gentlemen, get this to your head. Void Chronosphere, Tiny Volley. And then you have the rest of the heroes providing support. And by the way, you also give OG Enchantress. Like I said before, Enchantress was part of OG's meta. They're so good with it. And Team Liquid gave all of these heroes to Team OG. What do you think is going to happen, ladies and gentlemen? Templar Assassin is not part of the meta. Templar Assassin was a desperate pick. Templar Assassin is an okay, mediocre pick. Then you have Juggernaut with Team Liquid. Who's playing Juggernaut? Nobody's playing Juggernaut. You don't need Juggernaut unless if it's a last case scenario. So ladies and gentlemen, Team OG had won Game 3 from the draft because they set up Liquid to draft so bad, so poorly, while giving every single hero for Team OG. I just want to take a moment and show you this. When you have a Void and Tiny and Enchantress together, it is nearly impossible to win in this meta. You will not win no matter what. Team Liquid had no shot, and in the game, it would show. By 11 minutes, it was a 6,000k lead for Team OG. By 14 minutes, it was a 14k gold lead. By 18 minutes, the racks were already down. By 22 minutes, 20k gold lead. And by 23 minutes, the game had ended. Team OG had won game number 3. Now, the backs were against Team Liquid. Team Liquid had no clue what to do against Team OG. They were mentally broken, physically worn out from the last series and this series. And Kuroki was already giving up at this moment. Pretty much, Team Liquid had given up at that moment. Because in Game 1, they won by luck. Game 2, they tried to draft their best they could. They couldn't. And Game 3, everything in the meta came out. Because mentally, they didn't know how to draft. Team OG created the meta. They cemented it. They evolved the meta. And they were out drafting everyone. Kuroki had no clue what to do against No Tail's drafting. OG Ana, Seb, Jerax, they all believed in one another. Yes, but the way they drafted ultimately won the game. Now, game number 4, the final game of the series. We all know that Team OG won, but how did they win? What made them so superior? Ladies and gentlemen, pause for 1 second and just look at the heroes. Look at the heroes that you see that OG had. Forget about what Liquid had. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter what you have. Good luck. In the group stages and the main stages, what hero was OG undefeated with? They didn't lose a single game with. What hero? What hero is this? Yes, it's the Io. It's the OG Ana Io. Now let me tell you a little short story about Io. Ana, after winning TI8, would play pubs with his 3K MMR friends in Australia. He would play for fun, and at that moment, he would bring out a IO carry Wisp strat. He learned it with his 3K pub friends, and he would dominate there. Now, the funny thing is that he took that 3K MMR strat, implemented in the TI9, and made it a thing. He made it into a part of the meta, because they make the meta. OG create the meta. So, when that happens, No Tail, Jerax, Seb, they're like, hey, why not? Let's put in some Ana flavor into this. We all have faith in Ana. We ride and die by Ana. So, let's put in the OG Ana Io strat. Every game in the entire TI9, when Ana picks Io, he is a carry, and he can dominate the game in ways that we cannot understand. This is a different type of a carry Wisp. This is a very unique style that many people do not know. But let's just look at the draft yet again. In OG's case, we have Io Wisp and his favorite partner in the entire game, a hero that moves extremely fast and has crazy burst damage, crazy fast attack speed. So he only can get a crazy big boost by being tethered to Io. His favorite partner is Gyrocopter. Fantastic. So Liquid gives OG, who not only created the meta with Io, his favorite partner, Gyrocopter. So OG had won the game right from there. Ladies and gentlemen, it was game over at that moment. Io, Gyrocopter, and then to top it all off, you give them a Tiny. These are 3 hordes that are major threats in the meta, in the current pattern of the game. Liquid had no answer. Liquid could not do anything. Liquid tried to copy their Bristleback strat with the Omni Knight and Chen with heals, but I'm sorry, can an Omni Knight and Chen out heal an Io? Can you out heal and out damage an Io? No, you cannot. And one thing that you want to understand is how Team OG play when they have Io. You see, when they have Io, this is what they do. They let Ana farm non-stop. They let him farm until he has an Aghanim Scepter. The rest of the team has to survive until he has the Aghanim Scepter. Similar to a Spectre lineup, but he comes online faster. So once he has the Aghanim Scepter, he also needs to have level 15. The talent that lets you tether to your ally and also attack with them. So you're very strong. And you have your whirling, wispy little rods slowing your enemy down. So when you have level 15 Ana with a Aghanim Scepter, the game changes 180 degrees. It flips upside down. Ladies and gentlemen, do you guys watch any other sport when a superhero or where the star turns it up? When it becomes like clutch time? Just imagine Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan in the fourth quarter. How the game is super fast-paced, out of control, and it's all in their hands. Well, that's what happens when OG Ana becomes level 15 with the Aghanim Scepter.
Oh, he can't get out. There's no Ana. GH. He's dead, and now OG. They have that numbers advantage for this defense. They'll try and change the ball. Thompson, the Rocket Bride brings Miracle down. Then the Shackle turnaround. They look at the Jax. Jax backing away. Thompson focusing Miracle. Miracle's still out of mana because of this diffusion. Jax, he's in with the combo. The GA is out. We are all fall though. The magic damage is there for Thompson. Miracle's trying to run. Another stick charge pop, but Jax could shut him off. In fact, Jax, he's ready to try and look for more potentially. There's only the once. Thompson, he's on top of Kuro. Another cooldown there. The toss back into the combo. Jax has the control. They're all getting picked apart as mind control falls. Miracle is surrounded, and they're all able to get.
The game gets turned around. It goes up to 1,000 degrees. You're ready to play at a super fast pace. A pace that's unbelievable. A pace that not a single team in the entire international could keep up with. So Team Liquid thought they could? You possibly thought you could keep up with that? Like, seriously, what were you thinking, guys? But how are you going to keep up with the pace that not a single other team could keep up with? No one has. The IO carry strat, no one can keep up with. They move so fast together. In a blink of an eye, they will dive your fountain. They will defend a high ground push, completely flip the game all the way around. And the killer mentality, the assassin mentality will take over. And ladies and gentlemen, this is what happens. If you look at the video, look at Gyro and Io. And look at the support that the rest of the team is providing, those two guys. It's amazing. This is called a death ball lineup, an assassin's mentality. This is what Team OG had. This is why they are the greatest team in Dota history. They are the best team that we have ever witnessed. They are back-to-back TI champions. TI 8 to 2019 champions. No one in the history of Dota has attained that glorious status. No one is a back-to-back champion except for Team OG. Look at this fight. Look at how beautifully all four they stack together. It's amazing.
Pop the stick, get the GA off at least. Can they fight for the duration of it though? They're getting towards Seb. Reels the pot, sends back pretty much up to 4 Jags in with a double combo onto We Are stunned up. We Are dead. Miracle's the new focus. The missile follows through. OG pushing Liquid back to the base. Mind control.
Oh, and let's not forget about the item choice. Throughout the whole series, Liquid pick immaculate items, perfect for their death ball lineups. For example, the E-Blade in combination with Ember Spirit's magical damage. For example, Gyrocopter with a Diffusal Blade, which no one ever does. Ever. You don't pick a Diffusal Blade for Gyrocopter, but it works perfectly against a Bristleback. It's a perfect counter. Because OG created the meta with the Bristleback, they know the weakness. It's its mana. And without mana on a Bristleback, you can't take out your spikes. So, Gyrocopter with a Diffusal Blade with the Ana, with the Scepter, it was easy. As soon as Ana got the Scepter, as soon as Ana got level 15, it was game over. Diffusal Blade, it was just run right at Liquid, go straight to the fountain, under 20 minutes, end the game. That's it. I'm sure there are great other items that you guys can look into as you look specifically into the games. But that's just some of the things that I just noticed. So, when you have this strat with Io and Gyro at level 15 and Aghanim Scepter, what can you do in Team Liquid at that situation? What are you gonna do? You cannot do nothing. You're not ready to move that fast. You're not ready to keep up with their pace. You don't know how to defend your tier 3s. You're getting run over at your base. And look, in an instant, the game shifts entirely. They bait you down out of your base. You come out and then you die yet again. After that, you go back to your base and it's done. Your racks are wide open and get ready. Miracle, we don't care about you. We care about your support, mind control. We're gonna kill mind control first. And then we're gonna kill your captain to put the icing on the cake. We're gonna kill your captain right in his throne, where you spawn. We're gonna kill you in the fountains. And then we will kill your best carry. We will wipe out your entire team and force you to call GG. Yeah, that's why we, Team OG, are the greatest team in TI history. This is how Team OG break Dota. They have taken it over. They own every part of it. Every strat in the book, they own it. They own Team Liquid. They own Chinese Dota. They took it over. They went to Shanghai in 2019 in China's home floor, and they defeated everyone. People thought they were a fluke in 2018. They thought it was luck. Maybe it was destiny. God helped them. Oh, because Fly betrayed Notel, and because of that, the karma came in. No. The truth is there. The facts are all there. Notel is the greatest captain in TI history. Ana is the greatest carry player ever. Jerax, the best position 4. You got Seb, the best Axe player perhaps. One of the best offlaners ever. You have a complete team. They are the best player. And oh, don't forget about Topson. Topson and Ana are like peanut butter and jelly. They work perfectly together. They are magical. If you watch them play together, it is a beautiful treat. This is how they become the best. I hope you guys enjoyed this analysis, this breakdown of Team OG. This is what makes them the greatest team in Dota history. If you like these kind of videos, make sure you subscribe to Crystalis Chronicle for more epic stories. Anyways, I'm out.